Hi, I'm Jim Fitzsimmons. I'm joined with Kevin Quast this morning, and we're going to give you the update for the week. Today is Thursday, May 7th, so anything we're giving you is effective as of today. So let me hit first on, we've got some questions we want to go through. First one is freight environment. And so good news there is, we talked about last week, we're starting to see it's kind of dig out of the hole we were in, and freight this week continues to improve. Forecast projections for next week are even better. And so the good thing is, as the states start to reopen, our customers have plans to reopen within those states. And so, if you think back 4 or 5 weeks ago, every non-essential retailer was closed. And so as those retailers start to reopen, that's just putting more and more freight into the pipeline, and every week it's getting better and better. Over the next couple of weeks, you'll see freight levels continue to improve. We're going to put a map up. This map is current as of Saturday, May 2nd. It probably hasn't changed a whole lot in the last 5 days, but this is the current plan by each state on what they intend to do as far as a reopen plan. Turn it over to Kevin.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be with you again today, and grateful for the opportunity to share a few thoughts with you. Appreciate Jim updating on freight, and I think we're fairly optimistic about the freight environment and what's happening. And as Jim outlined, so as retailers open up, we've heard too that demand is fairly strong in their stores, and that's what we've been seeing, and I think that we'll continue to see that. We also have many dedicated operations that will be beginning to go back to work that have been furloughed, or our drivers have been furloughed, but the accounts have not been running during that time. So during this difficult environment, has been more difficult and is beginning to improve now. We've continued to work very hard to make sure that we are securing as much freight as we can, and we've talked about that in a previous video, so I won't spend a lot of time on that. But it's just critically important to us that both our company drivers and our owner operators have the freight that they need to be successful, and that we can successfully run trucks, and we make sure that we don't differentiate between the two groups relative to freight selection or those kind of things. And we make sure that we're working hard to have freight for both. And as it's been difficult, one of the things that I just thought I would share a thought on. I hope that all of us, I know I sure am, appreciative for the opportunity that we have to work in this industry and to work for a company like Swift. When you think about the number of people, over 33 million people have filed for unemployment here in the recent weeks, and gosh, we have never seen anything like that in the history of our country. Never seen anything like that. And you think about the impact on people's lives, and gosh, we're just grateful that we have the opportunity to continue to work and continue to take care of needs, even though maybe we're not quite as strong as we would like to be. We haven't been, but hey, we're very optimistic about things continuing to grow and to improve, and volumes beginning to grow, and anticipate that to continue. So, as I've tried to listen to our drivers through social media and other avenues, one of the things that keeps resounding to me that I hear from our drivers and our owner operators is that the best way to be successful for those who are being successful running miles is to just get out and work, and to accept the load assignments opportunities that come, and just to go from load to load, and try not to be quite as selective. Right now, I know when freight's more abundant, maybe we can be a little more selective, but gosh, in times like now, the best way to do it is just to get out and get going. And I sure learn a lot from listening to those drivers to do that very successfully, and and really been successful running miles. So, but we appreciate everybody's focus and good work there. I'll turn it back to Jim, and then we'll cover another topic.
Thanks, Kevin. Let me hit on return to work. So I mentioned last week, we still have the same plan in place, and that's bringing, the majority of our office staff back to work starting June 1st. And it won't be an overnight event. We're actually having some calls to kind of prepare. Each building will be a little bit different. So obviously what we do in the corporate office in Phoenix, Arizona will be a lot different than what we do at a smaller terminal or an on-site or a different building like that. So Each building will vary, so we're not going to cover, an exact plan, but just know that, starting June 1st, we're going to start bringing people back in. We'll have, if people want to wear masks, we'll have hand sanitizer, cleaning supplies, that type of stuff. So we'll make sure we've got a good, safe environment for people to return. We're going to follow the CDC guidelines and also local mandates. And so I think we have a few cities, a few states where the requirements are more strict than others, and we'll follow those state or local city mandates or guidelines on those. The second wave, is another topic that keeps coming up, and we're not here to debate will there be a second wave, will there not be. Here's what I would tell you, because a lot of the questions are what are we doing to prepare? So the good thing is now that we are starting to build a surplus of masks, gloves, hand sanitizer, if there is a second wave, we will be ready. Much more. This first wave obviously caught everyone off guard. Worldwide, and at Swift, obviously we were caught off guard as well, and it was too hard to get that stuff because any hand sanitizer, gloves, masks, all went to the medical community. And so the great news now is we're continuing as we stock up our terminals. We're going to start building a surplus so that we have, extra product to go around if we need it. Hey, hopefully we don't need it, and that would be great. But if we do need it, we're going to have it. One thing I meant to hit on too, when I talked about the freight, was I had asked a few weeks ago that all of our drivers, all of our office staff really put an emphasis around service. The great thing is we've seen service improve the last 2 to 3 weeks, and we even had record service levels 2 weeks ago. So really appreciate everyone's hard work and efforts around that. That makes a day and night difference when our sales team is trying to drum up new business or get more business out of an existing customer if we've got a proven track record of the freight we're already hauling and doing a good job on service. So really appreciate everyone's hard work on that. Please keep that up. Kevin?
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate those thoughts. I want to just maybe conclude with some thoughts about safety. David Tillman, who oversees all of our safety here at Swift, earlier in the week shared some numbers with us. And what David shared is that over the past little while during this COVID period, following distance events, as we get events that come in from the cameras and the sensors, following distance events are down by 45% for us at Swift. During that same time, we have seen a significant reduction in our DOT crash rates and in all on-road crashes. And it is not by chance. There's direct correlation between those two. Following distance is such a critical thing. And gosh, I would really encourage all of our drivers to make sure as traffic begins to build, and as traffic volumes begin to return, to make sure that you stay very, very focused on following distance. We've had a very experienced driver to share with us the other day that he noticed just over even this past week of how, with traffic volumes beginning to build, it's like people forgot how to drive because they just drive differently. And I think people have been cooped up for so long, they get out in their car and they're ready to go. And so just be mindful of that. And hey, you're the professionals. And we hire you to be that way. If you were trained here, we're trained you to be that way, and we trust you to be that way. And we have confidence that you're that professional driver behind the wheel of that Swift truck, or your own truck if you're an owner operator. And gosh, I encourage you to continue to do that. Along with following distance, I want to just remind all of us of the other 3 keys. So there are 4 keys to safe driving, and following distance, of course, being a critical one. Another one that's very critical is driving in a safe speed for conditions. So, for example, in rain, and you've heard this, but in heavy rain or any kind of rain, 55 miles per hour below. This past week, we saw a little bit of spike in jackknife accidents here at Swift, and without exception, the trucks were being driven over 55 miles per hour in bad weather. And I just promise you that you are significantly increasing your risk if you drive over 55 in rain, loaded or empty. And so just take the extra time and be careful, and it is well worth it. So we've talked about following distance. We've talked about speed for conditions. Don't drive distracted. Make sure you're focused. Not long ago, I was visiting with one of our 4 million mile drivers, John Hill, and John shared with me that John's never had an accident, by the way, and that he shared with me what he does is when he gets in the truck every day, or before he gets in the truck every day, he gets his mind focused. Takes a couple of minutes to think about the task, think about the job, and he is focused on what he's going to do. And he gets in the truck behind that wheel, and he's focused. That's what it's like to not drive distracted. And I know you're spending lots of hours behind that wheel, but don't drive distracted. The other key is don't drive fatigued. If you're the captain of that ship, if you are driving and you're starting to feel tired, not only do you have the authority to pull it over, but we expect you to pull it over. And hey, get out and stretch your legs, take a rest, take some rest, take a nap if you need to, but don't drive fatigue. If it's going to make you late for a load, then gosh, let's communicate, let's let our customers know, but don't drive fatigue. Now, if we plan right and manage time, then we can be safe and deliver on time. We can do both of those things together. So just encourage you to continue to do that. And really, that's really what I wanted to conclude with. So again, we appreciate all of you, appreciate your good work. And hey, this COVID pandemic, whatever comes, I promise you, we're going to work through it. We're going to be fine. As this economy begins to recover, we're positioned better than anybody I know to take advantage of these increased freight volumes because we have the relationships with these retailers that are going to be coming around and businesses picking back up. And hey, we're very optimistic and work through whatever comes our way. So appreciate all that you do, and drive safely out there. And for those of you who don't drive, hope you're well, and hope everybody's well. Those who drive also, and everybody have a great day.